What's good, everybody? It's your boy Wilder, and we are back with another car style video. Today, we're going to be going over every vehicle I've ever owned and why I owned them, why I got rid of them, things like that. So we're going to be hopping straight into the video. Let's get it, boys. First up, we got a 2000 Chevy ZR2 Blazer S10 body style. The reason why I got this car, kind of how a lot of people get their first car, is it was a hand-me-down. I say that in the nicest way possible because I love this car. My oldest sister, it's one of her first vehicles, went from her to my other sister. She got the vehicle, and then it kind of got passed on to me when it was time for me to get my license. Love the car, man. Like 215,000 miles on it by the time I got it. Maintained it, you know, oil change, brakes, normal shit. We never like did anything crazy to this vehicle. Me and my dad dropped the gas tank out of it when it was going from my oldest sister to my second sister. In like the dead of winter, we did this. So ZR2 was 4-wheel drive. It was super sick. Didn't have any power. Wasn't cool. But boy, was there a lot of memories in that car. Again, my two oldest sisters had it, so was always riding in the back of it, riding in the front of it. Drove the car a ton. And again, just a super great vehicle. Can't thank my parents enough for that, and I know my sisters are super grateful for it. Sadly, that vehicle has since burned down. After I was done with it, I don't think it sat for too long. Ended up being given to my past brother-in-law. Door latch wasn't staying, so they went to weld it and fix the door latch. However, when they went to weld it, a spark got in the cabin, burned the door off, and it basically just had to be scrapped. It still ran and drove, but it wasn't worth saving. It had 250,000 miles on it. Wasn't really worth it, but it was a super cool car. Up next, we had a 2002 Dodge Dakota SLT, SLE. I don't remember what the trim names were back then for Dodge, but it was an SLT 4-wheel drive. Reason why I got that vehicle is, again, just needed an upgrade. I was getting ready to go to college. Knew that the Blazer wasn't going to work, so I got it right before I went to college. And right before, it was kind of like my first purchase, but it was cheap. It was 4-wheel drive, which we needed in upstate New York. 2 weeks before I went to leave for college my freshman year, exhaust fell off. Had to replace the whole exhaust system, so that was fun. That was a couple days prior to going to college. Wasn't that big of a deal, but it was a pain in the ass. I was a college kid, and I just didn't really have that kind of funds back then to be spending that kind of money. Yeah, it was the end of the first semester, so I just went back for my second semester. It's blistering wind, freezing cold, snow on the ground, middle of Canton, New York. Thermostat ended up going on the truck, which, again, 200,000 mile truck. Shit like that's gonna happen often, and it happened. Fortunately, we were able to nurse it back home. My dad was able to get it home. And at the time, my parents had a lease, a 2015 Equinox. So I got to drive that for half a semester. And that was sick. That was the first car I ever had 100 miles an hour in, oddly enough. So that was super fun. Ended up driving that Equinox. The coolest part about this Dodge Dakota is that it had a camper cap on the back that flipped up. It was like a true camper cap. So it had the big door, took the tailgate completely off. Big door would fold up, and then it had another glass door on it that would open this way. It opened outwards. So if you ended up selling that outright to some random person, took the money from that, and ended up putting it towards the Dodge Magnum that y'all are now acquainted with on the channel. A lot of history behind that vehicle. Not really how I got it, but it was my first purchase vehicle. First vehicle that I kind of bought on my own with help from my parents. So that was super cool. The Magnum, of course, RT all-wheel drive. So it's 5.7 all-wheel drive. Got that because I was in upstate New York. Ton of snow, ice, helps out, get around. And I've always kind of really liked having a vehicle that nobody really wants, or not that nobody really wants. And I kind of said that in the last video when introducing it, is I want vehicles that are just unique in some way. I remember I used to work out in Amsterdam, New York. I used to work at the Tractor Supply there when I was a kid, and there was this old van that was always for sale. It was just this raggedy van, and that, I don't know why this is the one that's coming to mind, but I always say, yeah, I'd drive the fuck out of that thing because nobody fucking wants it. It's cheap. Who cares? It would be super fun, and you would know exactly who's pulling up when you see it. You know what I mean? The Magnum is really one of the last muscle wagons out there. I mean, you have the CTSV wagons, but I mean, the last American muscle wagon that really came out in a long time, and there's not a lot of them out there. Put the statistics in the last video. I just really liked it. It came down between that vehicle and something else at the time of hey, would you want this or this? And I was like, I'd rather have this. This is way fucking cooler. Again, ton of memories with that vehicle. I really love it. Between just me and Haley and all the memories we've put in all three of those vehicles throughout the time, like we've been together throughout high school and college, and then like just friends riding around in them, me and Brian in the Blazer, and all the friends like Travis, TJ, Will at college with the Dakota, and then Matt and all my friends from back home in the Magnum. Now that the Magnum's here, we can build those memories even further. And I mean, I don't plan on getting rid of the vehicle anytime soon. Obviously, we have this build series that's coming up on YouTube. So that's probably my personal favorite vehicle I've ever owned. I think that is pretty self-explanatory, but that's the second vehicle I've ever driven that I've had over 100, which probably the most sketchy vehicle I've ever had over 100, just because it's so heavy and it floats so much, but definitely one of the most fun vehicles I've ever had as well. After that, I basically sold the Magnum back to my parents. I sold the Magnum back to my parents in order to put a down payment on my first financed car, which was a 2019 Dodge Charger RT. Beautiful car, introductory for me into like modern vehicles, because I've always had, I mean, hell, my newest vehicle was 2006 up to that time. And I had all of those vehicles for at least 2 years before I got something different. So I got this Charger RT. Beautiful gray on gray, D-badged, great car, drove nice. First introductory really to the MDS system, from 8 cylinders down to 4. Got great gas mileage. When we bought that car, it was because I just graduated college. I knew I was gonna be moving away soon, which ended up being to Tennessee. When we got it, again, great gas mileage, drove halfway across the country with it. Drove it for, I don't know, 6 months. Don't have like a lot of history with that car, other than it was a great vehicle while I had it. It was super fun. Didn't put a ton of miles on it, and it was a beautiful ride. I mean, I got compliments on that car all the time. I've never really had a car since the Magnum that didn't get compliments. You know what I mean? Like every vehicle I've ever owned, people are always saying something, which is something I have pride towards. Don't know why. Probably stupid man brain shit, but it's something that I have pride for. After that, so I moved down here, and within 2 weeks, I started working at a car dealership, Beeman Ford. It's no longer a dealership, but I was working at this dealership. I was probably there for about 3-4 months. It was probably about January timeframe. I'd only had the RT for about 7 or so before I ran into this gentleman selling cars, and I ended up selling him a 2020 Chevy Camaro SS, and he traded in a 19 Scat Pack, blacked out, black rims, but it had a carbon fiber like stripe up the center with red around the sides of it. Gorgeous car. And basically he had all the history. He had bought it brand new. He drag raced it, knew what it was capable of, didn't really do anything modification wise to it, so I knew it like it had been taken care of. Even though he drag raced it, he changed the oil after every race. Like, he did everything that would make me trust that this vehicle is gonna be okay. And because I was buying it from my dealership that I work for, got hella discounts, got everything that I needed for my trade-in. And of course I got warranty with it. At the time they were doing, if it was a used vehicle under 100,000 miles, you got limited lifetime warranty. So as long as you maintain oil changes, routine maintenance, everything under powertrain was gonna be covered. So it would have been dumb for me not to buy it, to be honest. And it worked out. However, I will say buying that 19 Charger Scat Pack was probably the worst financial decision in hindsight, because of how much I ended up driving it. Not out of like, oh, I'm having fun driving on the weekends, going on trips and shit. Like, no, I drove 41 miles one way to work every day to Dixon and back, and then moved a little bit closer to Dixon, and then I quit there and went to another dealership that was now 61 miles one way and was driving 120 a day, and just racked up the miles on it. Just put a ton on it. I was at that other dealership for about 6 months, quit there, went back to Beeman, but their GMC dealership. But that's where I found my next car. That's where I found my next love, is actually at Beeman Ford. The next car I got was a 2021 BMW M340. Awesome car, super fun, still have it today. I've had it for 2.5 years. The Scat Pack I had for about 2, as opposed to the RT only had for like 7. I jumped into the M340, and when I first saw this car, my buddy JP was driving it. Shout out Justin, love that kid. He was driving it, traded it in. It was way too much money, but I knew from that day, like, that's gonna be the next car I want, is an M340. It's an affordable M series car, whatever everybody says, I don't give a fuck. It has an M badge, it's in the name. They're worth it. They're worth every dime. He traded it in, ended up buying a Volvo, whatever. Then my boss bought it at the time from Ford, went to GMC after all that time, rebuilt the relationship with my old boss, who's now my boss back at GMC, and he finally traded it back in. And when he traded it in, it was still too expensive. I was like, I don't need it. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I like it, but I can find another one. And leading up to him trading it in, I was looking at them. When he traded it in, it was too expensive. I basically waited. We had a rule where it was like, at 45 days, they drop the fuck out of it. You have 15 days to sell. If you don't sell it, it's going to auction. Waited those 45 days, we still had it. They dropped the ass off of it, and I ended up paying like $4 grand back a book. My car was worth 32, but I owed 36 on the Charger. They gave me 36 and got this M340, which is why I ended up buying it. Now, I will say this is probably, since the Magnum, the most love I've had for a car. I'm very passionate about it. I love it. It's super fun. It's one of the most fun cars I've ever had, if not the most fun car I've ever had. It's very refined. I've never had a luxury vehicle, let alone like a sports sedan in any way. I never thought I would ever own a BMW. But it's definitely one of the most fun cars I've ever had, for sure. Now, whereas like the Scat Pack that I owned was an uncaged, say, like animal, this vehicle is like a black mamba. It knows right when it wants to strike. It knows right where you're gonna go. The shift timing's better. It handles better. 50-50 weight distribution. Same, about 100 less horsepower than the Scat Pack, but weighs about 1,000 pounds less and has the same amount of torque. So the 0 to 60 is better. It feels better when you're driving it, and the interior's better. It's updated Apple CarPlay, like, you know what I mean? Has all those luxury features that you look. Probably my favorite feature is the presence sense. You walk up and the doors unlock. I don't have to hold the button. I don't have to hit the door handle. I can walk away, it locks. I walk up to it, it unlocks, which I don't know how I'm gonna deal with not having that on another vehicle. I don't know what I want yet. Being out of the car business has made it hard for me to figure out what I want, because I've driven a ton of vehicles, man. I've driven a brand new Corvette. I've driven used Corvettes, BMWs, Mercedes, Jeeps, Fords, GMs, you know what I mean? Like, I've driven basically everything other than like Porsches, Lamborghini, like those type of actual luxury, most all around vehicle I've ever owned. I've always said that the Scat Pack is probably the best daily drive I've ever had, which I do agree with, because it can get 18 to 20 miles to the gallon. It's top tier. It's probably a top 3 vehicles I've owned for sure, excluding like sentimental value, top 2 by far. Now on to the honorable mention. Had 2 2019 Scat Packs. One was Haley's, but kind of bought them near the same time of each other. Drove that one all the time. The fastest I've ever driven a vehicle was my black Scat Pack at 161. Haley's I had up to about 145, or maybe that's reversed, one or the other. Which obviously don't recommend, you know, that's never what you want to do, but it was fun. It was a blast. The Magnum was the vehicle that really introduced me into like making me love oddball cars, but those are the vehicles that really made me want to like road race and made me want to drive fast. And maybe, you know, that's just what Dodge intended. I don't know, but I love them and they were fun. But honorable mentions, another 2019 Scat Pack. That one was white. I had a black one. We had like yin and yang, which was really cool for a while. 2019 Ford Fusion, Haley had that as well, drove that a ton. That was a weird car. It was 2019 Ford Fusion Titanium. We bought it with 19,000 miles on it and paid 19 grand for it. I mean, for a Ford, it was a Ford, you know what I mean? I also had a 1996 Chevy Suburban for about, I don't know, 4 months, never got to drive it on the road. Paid like 600 bucks for it, put like another 500 in it, and then I think my dad ended up selling it for like 1,500 or 2,000. It was just like a car that we could build up and put on the road, and it was fun. It started, it ran, put an exhaust system on that, did a bunch of different stuff. That was cool. That was probably the most in-shape vehicle I owned that I never got to drive. The body was phenomenal on it. And who doesn't love a Suburban? Like I said, who could imagine a 18-year-old, 19-year-old driving a Chevy Suburban? Like, I don't know. I thought it was sick. And then the last honorable mention is, of course, Haley's current car, the 2024 Honda Civic. Bought that at a really good deal, really good rate, and it's honestly a really nice car. I mean, it doesn't have power seats, which is annoying, but for what it is, I mean, it's really nice. It gets up and go when you need it to, and has wired Apple CarPlay. It doesn't have presence sense, but it unlocks at the door handle, so you don't have to take the key fob out like every other car, and it does everything we need the vehicle to do. It's a nice commuter car, and to be honest, it's going to be a nice go get parts car, because I don't want to dirty my BMW, and I know Haley doesn't care because I'm going to be the one cleaning the Civic anyway. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what car you drive and why you drive it, because I want to know what kind of vehicles we got out here in this Wild Things community. So I will see y'all in the next one.